I am the Doctor, this is my section. Earth is under my protection. Planet of birth is Gallifrey. I've got two hearts, your life is saved. Run into the Master Raw Missy. Come on, Alonzo. Alonzi. I am a Time Lord. No, I'm not rich. 12 bodies a man. Now it's time for a switch. Don't look like that. I'm in great health. You were expecting someone else? Regeneration. Oh, such fun. When I say run, run, run. What's up, my boy? Peace and sanity. Sorry, mustache. Reverse the polarity. Sometimes I'm north, but always a limey, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Jump in the TARDIS, go for a ride. It's bigger on the inside. Exploring all of time and space. Oh, what's that? Exterminate.
Cyberman, a Daleks, maybe.
Would you like a jelly baby? Time's ticking, we'd best go. A new adventure, Geronimo. I am fantastic, so are you. Best come with me. I'm Doctor Who. Welcome to a brand new episode of D4WH. I am your host. The past is a foreign country. They do things differently there. I'm Adam O'Sullivan, sitting here manning the dials, ready for her next trick. It's our trusty Beck Tech. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's our first episode recording since Nicchia moved down to Canberra.
Yeah, she's not going to be a host.
Yeah, she's not going to be here today, so it's a bit strange doing a podcast without her, but who's that? Oh my god! What the hell? What are you doing here?
Look, I just hitched a ride.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
A 17-hour ride?
I thought you were in Canberra.
Yeah, I was this morning. But things happen, people turn up, and here I am.
Jesus.
Do you think I'm going to miss any of our podcasts? Really? Do
Well,
you?
Maybe.
weren't sure. God, I'm going to have to come up with an intro for you.
Yeah, come
just
on.
off the top of my head.
All right.
Joining me as always, she's the last of the podcast lords. It's Nicchia Schutz.
I think I'm a lordess. Or a lady.
A time lady, yeah.
I'm a time-
podcast lady.
I'm a podcast lady.
Lady of the podcast.
It's nice to see you both.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah,
I do. We weren't trying to replace you or anything.
No, yeah.
No.
I did see a lineup of women out there, just talking about Doctor Who. And
Oh, we'll be auditioning them later, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and the
that's right.
occasional man just to keep me occupied.
Oh, yeah. Adam, pray tell.
Yes.
What are we talking about today?
We're going to start as we always do with Doctor Who in real life.
Woo!
Or D-Whirl.
D-Whirl.
Give it a D-Whirl, as I like to say.
Mm.
Christopher Eccleston has released his memoir titled I Love the Bones of You, My Father and the Making of Me. So it's basically just all about his dad fucking.
Really?
No. I think it's a lot about him growing up and being working class roots. And
In it, he details his relationship with his father, his life as an actor, and of course, the biggest role he has ever played, the leader of the Dark Elves in Thor 2.
no, classic that one was. I didn't recognise him, but
Brilliant.
it was good.
No, we're talking about Doctor Who, obviously. He details that he suffered from anorexia and depression for much of his life, including during the filming of the 2005 series.
You know, that makes sense, doesn't it, now when you think about it?
All of these outbursts seem very self-destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I feel bad now because we all made sort of a joke about how thin he was when, he had his shirt off. Well, yeah, anorexia and depression. And, if you've ever suffered depression, it's not fun.
Who in here hasn't?
True. But they say that with men, depression and anxiety comes out more as anger. And with
Yes.
women, it comes out more as being melancholy.
And that definitely was his attitude around that time.
Yeah, so I feel really bad, and I hope he's good now, really. It's a very depressing sort of
Well,
start,
it came
isn't
out. I thought we would have to reference it, especially
think.
since we're going to be talking about season 1 today. Thankfully, he has since received treatment and help for his conditions.
Good.
Obviously, we recommend reaching out for help from trained professionals and those that you trust if you suffer from similar issues.
It would be hard for him too because of his working class roots. And as a working class man, you've got to be strong, tough.
He mentions that all in the book about how difficult it was for him to accept. And when I say he got treatment, it was only recently, probably about 2016, he says that he finally got treatment for those things.
Well, I'm glad he got treatment, but I imagine how much he must have struggled, feeling like he wasn't.
Oh, yeah. No wonder he was lashing out.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
exactly.
suffering so badly. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Christopher, if you're listening. Hopefully you are.
That would be nice.
And look, he has high praise for many of the people he worked with. Billie Piper, who he says should have been cast as the first female Doctor for season 1. Stephen Moffat, who wrote 2 of the most highly regarded episodes in Doctor Who history. And directors Euros Lyn and Joe Ahern.
My 2 favourite directors.
In fact, he reckons that if Joe Ahern had directed more of the season 1 episodes, that he'd probably still be playing the Doctor today.
Wow.
Yeah, so he has high praise for Joe Ahern.
Yeah. Well, they're both good directors, but Yeah, and I think if you don't get on with the director, it is going to be hard to do an episode as well.
Definitely, yeah.
I know
especially when you're not getting along with most of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and I know Tom Baker there were certain directors he hated working with. So yeah, I think I think a good director makes a good movie because you've got a happy cast.
He says he gets told a lot, oh, you were a bad fit to be on Doctor Who. And he's like, well, yeah, that's why I did it. I wasn't going to do it if I was the most obvious casting.
And I don't think he was a bad fit. He was perfect for a Doctor who'd just come out of the Time War.
There's multiple times throughout the season where we go, oh, this is why you get Christopher Eccleston, because he is such a good actor.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
He also states that while he didn't get along with Russell T Davies professionally, that he respects what RTD did to make the show more popular than ever. And he says that going to conventions and meeting his fans has helped him to reconcile his work on Doctor Who and shown him that people are interested in all of his work. So people come to conventions and they don't just have Doctor Who stuff, they have, Shallow Grave stuff and other stuff. And
Second Coming, I saw him in Third Coming, Second Coming.
Second Coming, yeah. They want all of that signed and want to have a chat with him, and he says it's been very therapeutic to finally start going to conventions because initially he didn't want to.
I think it's good also just to feel the love. You don't go to a convention and get a photo with someone so you can tell them you don't like them, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money to spend just to go, I didn't like you.
So if you see us at a convention, it's just $20 a photo, and
Tell us you like. Tell Adam you like him anyway.
no, the minimum is just
Somebody needs to.
yeah, please. Today we are talking about season 1 of Doctor Who. We're doing a bit of a recap because we've just recently, not months ago when we recorded them all.
They still feel very fresh in my mind.
Yes. The showrunner is Russell T Davies, and it was originally broadcast in 2005. We have a bit of a synopsis for the season. The Time Lords to stop the war and spread, and the fucking fuck.
Wow.
That's a long sentence.
Fuck.
I didn't know he did a lot of that. I missed that.
No, well, he does that behind the scenes.
Okay.
In the
It
novels.
would have gotten my attention.
Yeah. The Doctor has escaped the horrors of the Time War, sacrificing his people, the Time Lords, to stop the war and the spread of the Daleks. Or so he thinks. A brief encounter with a London shopgirl, Rose Tyler, will end with her being his new companion, and the two of them being followed by the words Bad Wolf throughout all of time and space. The Doctor will form a connection with Rose, one that means they will do whatever it takes to save each other, but only one of them can survive. Dun dun dun!
Which one do you think?
Rose will die.
Oh, okay.
So, this was the return of the show after 16 years since the last season, although 9 years after the TV movie.
Yeah, which after the TV movie, as much as I loved Paul McGann, I didn't think anyone would touch Doctor Who for quite a bit longer.
Well, I mean, it turns out there were multiple people working on reviving Doctor Who. BBC producers who apparently wanted to reboot the series, so it was going to be a brand new series, not connected to the previous one. As we've mentioned on previous episodes, Mark Gatiss and his writing partner were working on a version of Doctor Who. I think that one was going to be a more gothic version. And Russell T Davies, since 2000, had been working on a few ideas.
I'm glad that they got Russell. Not that the others are rubbish. They were all good, but I like Mark Gatiss. But I don't know. I think it worked. I liked the Time War. I liked how
the
that,
idea of the Time War,
became part of the canon. And I think, as we said before, Christopher Eccleston was perfect to play a guy who had the PTSD, who was, and it makes a bit more sense about why he was so attached to Rose. He just needed some humanity, some kindness, some friendship, love.
Yeah, well, I
something
mean,
in
you
his
see
life.
in Dalek where he's ready to blow up a Dalek, and she's like, no, he's okay.
She says, "You're the one holding the gun."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know that we've had a little bit of flack for giving Rose a bit of a hard time in our season 1. Our season 1 recaps. I did think about that when I read that comment, and I thought, well, I didn't dislike Rose at all. I think I liked her better with David Tennant.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But when I first watched it, I thought she was great. And I knew that there was a lot of flack because she was a pop star and everybody thought it was just a bit of a gimmick. But she can act.
Yeah. Oh, she's proven that throughout her career.
Absolutely.
She's an amazing actor.
But she proved it in that episode, in that series. I think I kept thinking, I like her as she develops further on. So I will say, no, don't I won't bag out on Rose too much, just a little.
Well, I mean, this episode is just for us to go back and talk about what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah.
I know we've been a little bit more critical of season 1 than perhaps when we first watched it, back in 2005.
Oh, 2005, I thought it was the best thing since sliced
I thought
bread.
2005. This got me into Doctor Who. So if this hadn't been good, I wouldn't have watched Doctor Who. I wouldn't have gotten in. Well, if David Tennant was more when I got the hook, but this was what started me watching Doctor Who. So I think, look, we're a little bit more critical, but I think that's mainly because we've got the hindsight of where it's been through there since then. And if this first season hadn't been good, there would not have been more Doctor Who.
Well, that's exactly right. And I try to remind myself that it is of its time and its budget. I loved it. I watched every episode about 3 times. I would record it and watch it and watch it. I have to remind myself that I had just adored Series 1 when it first came out. But when you go back, you're watching it, yes, with hindsight, but also you're trying to watch it as a reviewer with a bit more of a critical eye to it. The Mickey still has never worked for me, and, I stick by that. I didn't like that, and I think it made Rose look worse because she kept him hanging on. But when Mickey got tough and strong and found his voice, I liked the character.
Yeah, it's interesting. The main thing we've been critical about Rose is that she's been leading Mickey on, and that's the writers not giving her You can obviously tell that if they had have written her a little bit better, they would have just gotten rid of Mickey. But they wanted to keep Mickey around. They wanted to have her have 2 connections to that time, her mum and Mickey. It's a lot of overarching story things that don't have to do with the character of Rose, that when you look at based around the character of Rose, you're like, well, actually, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But it has nothing to do with the character of Rose. The character of Rose is fantastic, obviously. People are always talking about her coming back to Doctor Who.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Always. I mean, when they announced that she was in the 50th, I was excited.
Oh, yeah.
I wish she'd come back as Rose, but it was good to have her back in. And she is part of the new series. She's a really strong part of it that you won't forget. Her, Captain Jack, David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston, and Matt Smith. For me, anyway.
And it's important to note that, we're still Doctor Who fans. We might give an episode a terrible bad score, but if it's on TV and we're not doing anything, we're probably going to watch it.
I'll always watch it if I see it and it's a repeat. I'll watch this. Yeah, I love it.
Freema Agyeman just came back into the big Finish stories, and Martha wasn't handled very well in that season straight after Rose. Considering how well Rose was liked in her series, Martha then didn't hold up to that, but people were still excited. Oh yes, Martha's coming back. She's going to be treated well. She's going to be given good storylines.
And that's what we wanted. Always I wanted with Martha. I wanted her to stop being in love with the Doctor, and I just wanted her to, because she was as tough and she was strong and determined and smart. I mean, she was a great character. That I just didn't like her story arc.
It was difficult when they realised, Rose works because she's in love with the Doctor. Let's have another character who's in love with the Doctor.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's whiplash. We're still talking about Rose.
But what's interesting is that at the time there was a lot of criticism about the domestic life of Rose being brought in to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because before, if you've watched the old ones, you knew nothing much about Sarah or Joe or any of them and their backstories. I mean, you probably knew more about Barbara and Ian because they were teachers. But, they just kind of jumped in the TARDIS and then there was no connection and then they left or fell in love.
But I like that because the joke is, how come the Doctor always ends up in London in whatever the present day is? And he has a reason to, because he has Rose, and Rose wants to go back and visit her family. None of the other, I don't know, I haven't watched many classic episodes, but I don't know how many times in the classic episodes people are talking about their families.
Very rarely. I know Sarah Jane had an Aunt Lavinia who she pretended to be when she first met the Doctor because she wanted to get into a think tank thing. But really, no, you don't know anything, and you wanted to. I wanted to know more about Sarah's life outside of it because I thought she was great, and it didn't turn into Coronation Street in the...
No, of course not.
I think that it's good to have that backstory. It fleshes the companions out and it shows the impact of travelling with the Doctor.
Oh, definitely. The Sylvine episodes, my favourite part of those 2 episodes is when Rose comes back and the Doctor has stuffed up and she's a year in the future and everyone thought she's dead. Sarah Jane Smith gets dropped off in Aberdeen instead of Croydon or whatever.
Yeah, Croydon.
How long has it been?
Yeah.
Have people thought that she's been missing? Are people looking for her?
Nobody knows.
You don't know because they never touch on that.
And then he never mentions her again, which always seems really quite cold, I always thought. So I kind of like that he does occasionally mention his companions. Nobody likes change. That's the problem. That's me making one of my noises again. Don't change. Nobody likes change. Did you see that? Who's the BBC controller who cancelled Doctor Who?
Michael Grade.
The fat controller.
The fat controller.
He's just come out and said that he doesn't mind the new episode, but he hated it before because it was, compared to Star Wars and Star Trek and stuff, it was really rubbish. Yeah. And I thought, well, you're the one with the money.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have fixed it.
Well, he hated it from the start, so he wasn't going to give it more money. He just wanted a reason to cancel it, I think.
You know, if he wanted to make it better, he could have.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Remember, he was dating Colin Baker's ex-wife at one point. So, you know, he had no real incentive to... he hated Colin Baker. He kicked Colin Baker out. And
I
then,
know.
Yeah.
And brought in, and just they threw no money in it. But I mean, we've laughed at some of the special effects, but they've had some amazing ones as well in this season.
Remember, like, this season 1 was the start of a new Doctor Who. Like we said, 19 years since the last full season of Doctor Who, where the quality wasn't up to what it had previously been, and the BBC hated it, so they cancelled it. And 9 years since the movie, which had tried to reboot a new series or to start a new series and hadn't done very well. So they didn't do it, you know. Like, this season 1 could have just been another...
It could have been another start-stop, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I think Christopher Eccleston really made the character. He gave it the dark. But he also, like, he's not known for his comedy, but I think he gave it the light as well.
And that's the thing, BBC waited until after the second episode had aired and they saw how many people watched it. Because they knew, well, people are going to watch the first episode, but let's wait till the second episode. And those people continued to watch. I think more people probably started watching.
Yeah.
And they were, okay, all right, now we'll commission a Christmas special and a second series, and we'll see how things are going from there. And it is huge. It is
huge.
I don't think there could be any other thing that the BBC makes that makes more money than Doctor Who.
No, I can't think of what it would be.
Is it Downton Abbey?
Downton Abbey, yeah.
The BBC?
No, I don't think it is.
Oh,
is it?
no, I
I think
don't
it's
know.
one of the other channels.
You were going to say Red Dwarf. I was waiting for you to say
No,
Red Dwarf.
No,
they're not on the BBC.
Oh, there you go. That's probably why they were on for so long.
So yeah, and people were anticipating. We're doing a podcast about it. We're anticipating the new series.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. What did you think, Beck? Because you've sit here very quietly.
Yes, because I'm usually not allowed to talk.
Oh, well, I'm glad.
Who allowed you to talk?
I'm
Yeah,
glad we took the
exactly.
gag ball off today.
What is this? Attack Rebecca Day or something?
Well, we didn't want you to talk. That's all I had hanging
It's a
around.
professional ball gag. It's not. Do not enjoy it. Okay. Do not enjoy it.
I was never going.
I just happened to have one in my handbag. What can I do?
There's situations like this which call for a ball gag.
A ball gag and handcuffs.
Kit Kat.
And zippy
Kit Kat.
ties.
Kit Kat and ball gag don't go together.
Well, you wouldn't be able to eat a Kit
No, that's
Kat
what I'm
with
saying.
Well, you could try.
You could stick it up your butt.
If you could stick it like the side.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Can you believe it?
I just don't know. Does your butt chew? Because mine doesn't.
Does your butt chew? Does it wobble to and fro? Can you throw it over your shoulder?
No.
But a chewy butt.
Right. Thank you very much for the chewy butt song.
Does your butt chew low?
My butt doesn't chew high, low, or anywhere in
My
between.
butt chews high, low, all around town, baby.
Why is it whenever it comes back to me, we get like this?
I don't know. It's Adam. It's
Yeah,
Adam,
it's me.
not me.
It's me. Yeah.
What did you think?
What did you think of my butt chew low song?
What did you think of the
It
song?
could be improved on.
Oh, okay, rightio. You're fired.
Some of the
Could sing in key.
and some of the rhyming was a bit dodgy, I thought.
Yeah, just a little. So you wanted me to tell you what I thought about season 1.
Did you watch it when it first came out, or did you watch it later in life? You watched it later, didn't you?
Later in life. Did you watch it in your 60s, love? You're like,
I
got to check out Doctor Who.
I was going to mention it, but then I feel like you guys were going to make fun of me for
No,
it.
we're not.
But I am basically the same age as the Telly movie.
Wow.
Because it came out the same year I was born.
You were 9 when the season.
Yeah.
Ah, so you wouldn't have watched it?
Wow.
No.
Was it your birth that caused the movie to do so badly?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
No, it was Rebecca's birth that made them make the movie.
Everything
Yes.
that went wrong in 1996, blame it on me.
It was strange the start of that Doctor Who TV movie where he generates, then lifts up you as a baby and Circle of Life plays. It's a circle of life. la.
And then yeets me off a building.
Well, can I just say I really enjoyed 1996, but anyway, move on.
So did I, you know, the whole month I was in it.
Yeah. No, so you watched it when you were older.
Yeah, I didn't start with season 1. I started with David Tennant's first season.
That's right. I remember you saying that, yeah.
That was the end of 2013. I started watching.
So when did you go back and watch one? After David Tennant's series or?
Yes, I think I watched all of David Tennant's and then went to Chris Eccleston. And then I went back to Peter Capaldi because he just started when that I finished.
What about my boyfriend Matt Smith?
I watched him after Peter Capaldi's first season. At first, I really wasn't much of a fan of Matt Smith.
Oh, Lord.
She's going to hate me.
No, that's all right.
I just found him really bubbly and bouncy, and I was just like, you're
And
way
you're in your
too
emo
hyped up.
phase, like flicking your fringe and being like, I don't.
How do you
get
hang out with me? I was doing a sea shanty in the room just before.
it. Yar.
Yeah, and Adam was talking about his ass chewing.
Just
I have
another
the
episode
best
of D4WH.
So what did you think when you went back and watched it?
I've actually watched a lot of the Doctor Who episodes, replayed them a lot in the last 5 years because I managed to get my younger brother to like Doctor Who as well.
Yeah.
So I'd have somebody to watch it with.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd go visit my brothers, like he'd chuck on Doctor Who when it was on
Yes.
Netflix. Rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. Netflix Doctor Who. Thank you for making doing this podcast so much harder now that we don't have Netflix to get everyone to watch the episodes on.
Well, get Stan.
Sure. I already have Netflix and I don't have enough time to watch Netflix. I'm not going to get Stan as well.
Hey, if Doctor Who was
Get
on...
a man called Stan.
Yeah.
What a Stan, what a Stan, what a Stan, what a mighty fine Stan. That's a song by TLC, in case you don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
No,
the
Salt and
song.
Pepper. Salt and Pepper, sorry.
Oh.
R.I.P. Lisa Left Eye Lopez, who is in TLC.
Ooh. Yes, I know who she is too.
I've no idea what they're talking
Or
about.
was.
Was Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra in that band?
I love Bing Crosby's version. What a man.
What?
What a
You've
man.
got a
What a mighty fine man.
That's Adam's middle name, Crooner. Adam
Karuna.
Karuna.
Dear, I'm
Let's
not-
talk about sex, baby.
Let's
Let's
not.
talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things
And all
that
the other bad
could
things.
be.
And the
Hey,
worst
welcome.
things
Thanks very much for coming. That was Bing Crosby's Salt and Pepper
by TLC.
by TLC, yeah.
Yeah, very confused here.
I don't want no scrubs. I don't want no
I'm
scrubs.
sorry, but if Adam and the Ants or Flock of Seagulls or Spandau Ballet or The Breakfast Club didn't sing those songs, I'm never going to know them.
Tear us apart.
That was on the episode that school reunion they were playing in the background.
We haven't got to school reunion yet.
I know.
That won't be released for months now.
What were they playing in the background?
They were playing Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't
in
notice.
the cafe
Oh, in the
with Sarah
cafe, yeah.
Jane.
Ah.
I only mentioned it because you were singing it. Okay.
Yeah, I still like your butt chewy song, but anyway.
Move over,
Butts,
Joy Division.
butts will chew us apart again.
So did we get to the point where you
Okay,
told...
do you really... I think you need a moment right here, don't you?
All right, love has told me apart again. Let's go.
Oh.
What did you think of season 1?
Yeah, it was really good. If I had to rank it, it'd probably be on the lower end of the scale for my favourites.
Well, I tried to find where people rank the season, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Some people rank it the lowest, some people rank it very near the high end of the scale. And you got to remember that this season was Russell T Davies trying a bunch of stuff to see what worked. You know,
Yeah.
he put in the Sylvine because he's like, oh, that's how I'm going to get kids to watch it. Farting aliens.
And I'm sure that kids loved the farting aliens.
Yeah, probably.
If I was watching it back then, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't need aliens to fart. I had two brothers. I didn't need...
But it's like the new Star Wars prequels when they came out, and everyone who, I've been watching it since I was a kid, and then they see those and they're like, that's not my Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then, well, actually, there are people who are growing up who are like, oh, the prequels are actually pretty good.
And that's exactly right. I grew up with the originals, loved them. The next ones came out. I tried to watch them, but I just couldn't.
They were trying to modernize Doctor Who, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's always like that. And yet Star Trek, the original Star Trek, I didn't like. But Voyager, Next Generation, I did.
I wouldn't put it as like the lowest
No, I wouldn't.
season. I think it's just based off the writing.
But you went back and watched that season 1 based on how good the show had gotten since then. Just because you were interested, go back and watch
Before the podcast,
Like
we forced you to watch
like
it.
you were into Doctor Who, so you went back and watched season 1 after you'd watched David Tennant stuff. Is that right?
Oh, no, I started with David Tennant and then I wanted to watch all of the episodes. So I started with Tennant and then went back to Chris Eccleston because I started watching Doctor Who because I was dating a guy that liked Doctor Who and he's like, you need to watch Doctor Who. Yeah, look how that turned out. That worked out great.
But look what he left you with.
Yeah.
A fabulous legacy.
And an
of
STI.
Doctor Who.
Oh, my God.
We don't know about the STI. Okay.
Sense
That's
of
just what Adam leaves his
sense
girlfriends.
of tertiary, a sci-fi taste in Doctor Who.
You just
STI.
just making that shit up.
He's talking out his ass again.
Oh, yeah.
Stop
And
chewing.
eating a Kit Kat.
Bums will cheer us up. In my head, like, bums are like wild animals that come and rip you apart. Anyway.
You're going to rip
Bums.
your bum apart.
That's not what I said.
Bums are wild animals that rip you apart.
Yeah. Packs of bums
Bums are just
walking
like...
across the Sahara
Oh,
Sahara
no.
Desert.
Sahara.
Bums are soft, wobbly things that couldn't hurt anyone.
Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
Yeah, little jiggly things that
But
you
then
poke and laugh
then
at.
their teeth come out and they're like, nom, 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 nom.
Well, mine doesn't have teeth.
Wait,
I
is
think
that
they're kind of like boobs. You know, you poke them and they wobble for 3 hours afterwards. I think that's
wibble
kind
wobble,
of cute.
wibble wobble,
Yeah,
jelly on a plate.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Butt cheek on a plate.
They're about as terrifying as jelly, I think, and boobs.
I think bums are more terrifying than jelly.
Really?
Yeah, well, jelly can't fart.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I want to ask something, but I
Oh, come on,
no.
do it. Do it.
No, don't. Please don't.
I think you can tell me
Yeah.
what I'm going to ask. But
Well, look, anyway, do we want to go through our average episode rankings for the season?
I'm kind of interested
Yeah.
in what, because I can't remember them off the top of my head.
So what I've done is I've taken all of the rankings that we gave to the episodes, so the numbered rankings, you, me, the 2 episodes that Beck did, and the guests, and then divided that by the number of people who gave the score. We've got an average score per episode.
You can tell that Adam's a finance guy, can't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I spend more time doing these spreadsheets than I did my job.
You've got to show them to us.
I love
afterwards.
this. I love this shit.
Oh, God, you're funny.
It's how he gets off.
Yes, it's the only way I can get off.
There's no girl, but there's numbers.
Oh, and then I have so many averages after that. Oh, baby.
Mathematics will never let you down.
So at number, we want to start at the bottom or the top?
Bottom.
Bottom? Okay, you want to start at the bum.
So
Start at-
we found out whether Nicchia is a top or a bottom.
I'm a bottom person, yeah. I just like to lie down and relax.
Well,
Sorry.
do you want to take a guess at what our lowest ranked episode was?
It'd be Slovene.
Yes.
It would be the first Slovene
No,
one.
the second
yeah,
one.
I
Second.
would have said the
World
second one
War
too.
III,
World
the
War
lowest
III.
scored episode that we've ever reviewed.
Really?
Yes.
What was it?
An average of 1.5.
That's about
out
right.
of 5. Yeah. It was pretty crazy. I gave it a 1. I know that for sure.
So you basically skewed
Yeah.
the data with an outlier.
Well,
did you?
a lot of other people gave it 2s, 1.5. Blah,
I
blah,
can't remember
blah.
if I gave it a 1 or a 2.
I think you gave it a 2.
I can never give Doctor Who a 1.
Vegan.
Yeah.
Well, no,
bust.
you have given Doctor Who a 1.
The-
It takes you away.
Oh, yeah.
Which
true.
is like my favourite episode.
Yeah.
of the
I
newest
gave it a
season.
4, but it's low on the score in that one, that's for sure.
There were so many elements I liked in it, but it just didn't work for me as a whole.
Next was Aliens of London with 1.9.
Yep, that would have to be right.
Yeah, we did not like the Slovene.
If you were asking me when I was 6 or 7, I probably would have thought it was hilarious. But I stopped laughing at farts, I don't know, yesterday, and I'm over it now.
Well, that's the thing of like you come into Doctor Who since watching it since you were a child, and you're like, oh, it's a little bit more sophisticated than farts. Thank you very much. Like even me, who I had only heard of Doctor Who, watching the show, being like, is it really about farting?
Farts, yeah.
Is this a classic TV trope of Doctor Who going around farting on people?
Don't go watch Torchwood then.
Yeah, well, that's fucking.
Yeah.
And like I said to you, the Slovene themselves are actually not that bad. It's just when they have the convoluted story of, oh, they go into a skin suit and that makes them fart.
When they brought them back with Margaret Blaine, I actually really liked
Yeah, well, they
that.
toned that down so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
They learnt from their mistake.
Yeah.
And you only really need one Slovene. Too many Slovenes, it's too much farting.
Spoils the broth.
Did you also include what the general consensus was from the fans online.
No.
So we don't know what they...
No.
What,
general-
our fans or?
No, as in like the ratings of each episode.
But I'd like...
Well, they're a little bit all over the place as well. It depends where you go, Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb or,
Yeah.
you know, different. So it's a bit difficult to get a consensus on that.
I'd love to know from our fans when this comes out.
When we so let us know what you think of these episodes on our
give us your
Facebook, and I
rating.
think next when we do season 2, we should do a poll every week saying find out what their ranking is.
Yeah,
as well.
that would be really good.
So I'm telling you guys so you can remind me. The next
What
lowest.
have I got to remind you now?
What? Who are you? The next lowest episode was The Long Game, Simon Pegg's episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.2 out of 5.
They did him dirty.
I don't know whether it was... I don't know what it was with that episode because I love Simon Pegg. I liked the exploration of a companion who gets tossed, but it just didn't work for me.
Like the Doctor Who has a history of just misusing Simon Pegg because he was also on an audio episode, and they decided to make him a US gangster, a Brooklyn gangster or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like Simon Pegg is well known for his, UK accent.
Yeah. I don't understand that because when they brought James Corden on with Matt Smith, they really used him well.
Yeah. Next lowest was The End of the World with 2.33.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't.
Really?
Is that
Not
the
a huge
second
fan.
one?
Yeah, the second episode.
Oh, yes. That was, Cassandra. And as I say, again, some good elements, seeing Rose and how she reacts, finally seeing a companion react to a bunch of aliens. Cassandra was...
Oh, and she freaks out too.
Yeah,
We
which
mentioned
you
in the
would.
episode. Yeah, that was really well done. Where Rose actually acts how other people. Sarah Jane's is like, oh well, cool, it's a robot. Let's go.
Yeah, and all the other companions were, all right, off we go. But I really liked that. I thought Cassandra is a really good construct. We learned about the Time War and that he's the last. We learned some good stuff, but it just didn't work.
There's a lot of world building in that. But the
Yeah.
episode itself was kind of okay.
Yeah.
Next up was Dalek with 2.375.
I'm
The
interested.
reintroduction of the Daleks. I think you and I both gave it a 3, and I
Yeah.
think the guests did not like it at all.
Well,
they were not fans of Doctor Who, so
Yeah.
you can understand why.
Yeah, that's true. It's if you were going to bring people into Doctor Who, you wouldn't say, go watch Dalek.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
The Unquiet Dead with 2.67. The Ghosts, Mark Gatiss was writing that one.
That was good. Charles Dickens and, yeah.
Then Rose with 3.33.
I still think that was my favourite for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I really enjoyed it the first time I watched it, and then watching it again was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, look, there were a lot of things I picked up the second time that I went, that doesn't really work. But the first time I saw it, I went, perfect. This is a perfect introduction to Doctor Who. This is great.
Well, on average, we liked Boomtown better than Rose because that has 3.5.
Yeah.
Ooh, controversial. That might be.
But these are later on, and I did like Boomtown. What they were exploring, I liked Margaret Blaine.
I think if they had turned the first Sylvine episode into one episode,
Yeah.
and then had that, I think that would have
Belfort,
worked a
yeah.
lot better. But the fact that they dragged out that first Sylvine episode.
The thing that we got was Harriet Jones, who I really liked in those Slovene ones. So that was a good character. Even these ones that we don't like, they've brought in some great characters and some good concepts. It's not like you totally wasted your time and sat there and went, it was nothing.
Oh, definitely. Next was Bad Wolf with 3.9.
Yeah.
So now we're getting pretty high. Father's Day with 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my
Yeah.
favourites.
Yeah.
Me too. And watching it again now after losing my dad it had even more
Oh, it's
meaning.
emotional. Like
So emotional.
watching parts of those classic episodes, it's just hard to think like now the show is so emotional, and
Yeah.
it's like once a season you're just like bawling your eyes out.
Yeah, I know.
Did you guys cry this season?
Yeah, Father's Day. I think I mentioned it on the episode. I bawled like a baby.
I did because it's the
Aw.
first time I've watched it since my dad died. So I felt a real connection to that sort of thing, and it was I was dreading watching it actually because I thought I would cry so much.
Then Parting of the Ways, 4.5.
Yeah.
That's quite an emotional episode too.
Very emotional.
My
really
first
good
regeneration.
How many more have you had since then, Adam?
13, so I can't have any more.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, well, everyone remembers their first regeneration. That was your first regeneration.
Yeah, that was my first. I knew there was different actors, but I didn't know. I don't think I knew about regeneration. And then when I saw that, I was like, what is going on? And I looked it up and was like, oh my God, okay, radio, blah, blah, blah.
So, Beck, what was your first regeneration?
David Tennant.
Into Matt Smith.
Actually, no, that's not right. Matt Smith into Peter Capaldi because I watched the 50th anniversary. And they're just like, when they're flying all the doctors in, is like...
Oh, that wasn't a regeneration.
No, he didn't regenerate
so
in that one.
that means your regeneration would have been the War Doctor into Christopher Eccleston. Because he starts... He starts regenerating in that one.
And that's
wow, that's a weird one.
Yeah, hello.
That's not...
That's an odd one.
I wonder how many people started watching the show because of the 50th. That'd be interesting.
That's pretty much the reason why.
Yeah.
Because, like, my little friend group were all talking about the 50th, and I'm just like, what's so special about this show?
Yeah.
They're just like, go watch it. I'm just like, okay.
Well, mine was John Pertwee into Tom Baker, and that was my first regeneration. And I remember being quite sad because I really liked him. But every time a companion that I liked left, I cried. Like when Sarah Jane left, I cried and cried and cried. I don't know how old I was only young, but I was like, oh my God, my life will never be the same.
Sarah Jane!
I love you, Sarah
I hope
Jane.
in 20 years' time they make a spin-off series with you in it.
I got to tell you that when she passed away, my husband rang me at work and he said, are you sitting down? And I went, why aren't you? And he went,
No.
Elizabeth Sladen passed away. And I was devastated.
Yeah.
And I just adored her. I grew up idolising her character.
Well, I mentioned before I was on a bus when I found out David Bowie was dead. And I had to, like, stop myself from crying on the... I had to wait till I get home and then I was...
I can't remember where I was. I think I was either on my way to school or I was already at school when that happened.
Yeah.
Which one?
When David Bowie passed away. Wait, when did he pass away?
A few years ago.
2016?
Oh, wait, no, I wasn't at school then.
No.
I'd already graduated.
No.
16 or 17?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I remember, this is my age, I remember when Elvis died.
Oh,
I was only
On
little.
the toilet.
But
yeah,
I was
taking a monster shit.
I was really sad because I liked him.
Shitting his 2016 David Bowie died.
Oh, yeah, I must have been thinking of Robin Williams.
When
I
did
remember the
Elvis
day
die?
he died?
78, 77, something like that. I don't know. I was in primary school.
77.
77, I was in primary school. I just remember it being very, very sad.
No.
And Robin Williams was
Was
2014.
2014, yeah.
Gosh, that
oh,
was
that was sad
sad.
too.
I was in year 12 at the time, so I remember that.
I would have loved to have seen him in Doctor Who. He would have been fantastic in
Yeah, we
Doctor
haven't had
Who.
a lot of American co-stars.
No, I tell you who else I'd like to have in Doctor Who, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I love him.
Just sauntering around looking sexy.
He just
Just-
being the coolest
Just
man
playing
on
his
television.
character from Marvel. Like,
just-
it's me, Jeff Goldblum. I've come to check out your...
I love
What
him
about
in...
Taika Waititi on Doctor Who?
Oh, hey, bro. How's it going? You want to... It's me. It's me, Clegg. I've come to be on your show, bro.
I like Jeff Goldblum in Law and Order Criminal Intent. I just love his character. He's just the coolest man. It's like Brian Ferry used to be the coolest man in rock and roll. Anyway.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
And then he was taken over by Adam O'Sullivan, the
Yeah,
coolest man.
That's
baby.
the coolest man anyway.
Coolest motherfucker in the world. Yeah.
Leave the mothers out of it, all right?
Yeah, stop fucking mums.
I'm the only one in the room. I'm getting out now.
I and they will do what they want.
All right, what was next? Sorry, we got off track.
Okay, we have 2 episodes left, and The Empty Child is next, 4.75.
Yes, absolutely. Unequivocally.
I didn't like that episode.
Oh, well, you didn't vote, so...
I know.
You didn't like Are You My Mummy?
No, I just...
Why?
I found it really boring.
You wanted to be his mummy, or...?
That's the second time to do with that episode that you've asked me that.
It's an easy thing to ask. Are you my mummy? Tell me,
No,
Beck.
Stop
Tell me.
asking me to call you that.
Deep state. You are fake news. You're telling me I know that you are my mummy.
Oh, did I tell you Trump called me and
Stop
asked me to
calling me
investigate
mummy.
the Bidens? He just called me before in the in my taxi.
In your
My
taxi. Oh,
My
okay,
taxi,
right, yeah.
yeah.
You took a taxi from Canberra to
yeah.
here.
Taxis aren't usually blue. I saw a flash of blue as he drove away.
It was a very blue taxi.
Right.
Yeah, he rang and asked me to investigate the Bidens as well, so I'm on it.
What? I've
Trump.
lost.
I suppose he's just.
Oh.
I suppose he's just biding his time.
Hey.
He's asked China to investigate the Bidens as well.
I know.
Yeah.
I got the joke.
And then the
And our
highest.
next door neighbour as well,
Yeah.
he got asked. Yeah.
He's going to door to door. Hey, it's huge. Can you investigate the Bidens? Anyway, I've got to go back to my Largo. Melania's waiting to divorce me. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
And the highest episode, our only perfect episode for any episode that we've watched.
Really?
The Doctor Dances. Fives across the board, baby.
Because we just love when the Doctor dances.
Oh,
Yes.
we do.
We love when he gets some.
It is my favourite. That's my favourite two-parter, but that's my favourite part in the two-parter. I love it.
Across the board, it's our favourite episode of the season.
I'm sorry, but can I just say, Stephen Moffat.
Yep.
Stephen
Moffat.
Yep, that's right.
The Moffster.
The Moffamator. Oh, I love Moff.
Don't you dislike
Yeah,
Stephen
you
Moffat?
dislike Moff.
Yeah, as I've said before, I dislike him as a showrunner, not as a writer. I think he writes great standalone episodes, but I think near the end of his show running, where he was putting the Doctor in mortal danger and the universe was going to be destroyed and then solving it within 40 minutes every week, instead of having an entire story arc across the whole season, that's when it was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yes, it got overdone in the end, but also you don't want Doctor Who to be the stakes are low, because that doesn't work.
No, of course not. But you don't want the Doctor to be saying, oh, I'm going to die this episode. Like, no, he's not.
Yeah,
I know he's not going to die this episode.
You never know.
Didn't he do that with Matt Smith? He was constantly towards Matt Smith's end. He was just like,
Well,
I'm
that
going to
was-
die this episode. No, and the next one. No, maybe the one after that one.
Yeah. Well, we knew he was going.
There's the thing with Peter Capaldi's season where there's a three-parter episode and Bill shoots the Doctor and he starts regenerating and they build that up and like, oh my God, he's going to regenerate, blah, blah, blah. And then it's in the show and he's like, haha, I was playing a joke on you. And I was like, no!
Yeah.
No!
I know. That was the Monks
season,
episode. I didn't like it.
That season would probably be the one that I've ranked the least.
And yet,
I still have yet to finish it. I just don't like it.
and yet I loved Nardole and I loved Bill. But the stories didn't always work for me.
The last
But
two
I watched
episodes
it.
of that season's are really good. I really
Yeah.
like the Return of the Master.
I did like the last, like the closing ones.
Yeah.
But
And
just
I
the
like-
ones in between, like I still haven't been able to finish it, which is really sad for me because
Yeah.
I love Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, I love Peter Capaldi too. But his first season I found hard. His second season I loved. And then his last season I found that it just wasn't working.
Anyway,
for
we're
me.
talking about season one. Do you want
season one, Chris Eccleston.
Do you want a few more stats? Here we
Yeah.
go.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Come on, stat me up,
So,
baby.
season one averaged 7.95 million UK viewers per episode.
Wow.
As compared to season 11, which had 7.96 million UK viewers. So, round about the same. That's quite exciting. Season one episode average, we gave it. Across the board, the average of the episodes was 3.23. So, kind of
Above average.
Little above average, yeah. Now, for season 11, our average across all of the episodes was 4.18.
Wow.
Yeah, so we really enjoyed season 11. Us and the guests.
And I wonder if we waited 10 years and came back and watched it, would we be harder on it?
Well, we'll have to see in 10 years' time, won't
Yeah.
we?
Well, we'll still
keep
be
the podcast
When
going.
D4WH is at how many episodes? What's 500?
I don't know, but who was telling me the other day that there were people who won't listen to a podcast unless it's a year old?
That was me.
Oh, you were telling me that? Or that's just you, is it?
No,
So
that's
you
not
still
me.
have yet to listen to your own podcast.
Yeah, I don't even know if this is good or not. I don't even listen to it when I edit. I just randomly select bits and delete them.
Cut.
It's shit, okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Shit,
all
yeah.
right,
But
thank
we
you.
should keep going.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Nick. Now, I've got the averages for the two showrunners.
All right.
So the average for Russell T Davies for season one, we gave his episodes an average of 2.9. He wrote 8 episodes of the season, or 61% of the season. Compared to Chris Chibnall for season 11, we averaged his episodes at 3.58.
Really?
Yeah. But he only wrote 6.5 episodes and 65% of the season. He actually wrote more of the season than Russell T Davies did, but there were more episodes for him to write.
Yeah. So still above average for RTD. And for,
yeah.
Well, you know, that's pretty much how I probably felt about it. There were some fantastic ones, and there were some that I just went.
I mean,
"Ugh."
as we said, like he was trying a bunch of stuff. The fact that it works so well as a season is amazing because it's basically a bunch of different ideas being like, okay, let's see what people like. I don't know why this Levine kept coming back on Sarah Jane Adventures, although that kind of proves that he kind of wrote them for kids because he try and aim that show more at teenagers and kids, than the actual series. But yeah, it's just interesting to see. It's like a scatter shot of, hey, we'll throw all of this up on the wall and we'll see what works.
And I guess that's probably the best way to do it because I don't think you're going to know, are you? It's been so long since it's been on. And you just kind of go, well, look, I've got different ideas. We'll try them all. We'll see what works and we'll consolidate for the next season. Because he certainly did, from what I remember. We're not on to see the season 2, but
not yet.
I'm interested because I think it worked better, but we'll see.
Yeah, and this season introduces a lot of the concepts and characters that we talk about throughout the series.
Yep.
Introduces Torchwood and Captain Jack. I mean, that's Stephen Moffat, but you know.
Are You My Mummy?
Are You My Mummy? Toshiko, who went to work at Torchwood.
Cassandra.
Harriet Jones, Prime Minister.
Oh,
The Face of Beau.
The Face of Beau, yeah.
Yes.
Cat nuns. They come back.
Oh, God.
You know, Eve Miles.
Oh, yeah, Gwyneth.
Charles Dickens, Simon Pegg, Zoe Wanamaker, obviously. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this episode.
There is.
In this season.
And one of the, I can't remember what her name is, but one of the cat nuns comes back as Martha's mum.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know
Superior
Martha's mum was a
nuns.
cat.
Yeah, it's so strange when they
I guess
reveal
she's the cat's mother.
Oh, who's the cat's mother? Martha.
So, is there anything else that you guys would like to mention about season 1? What's your favourite part of season 1? What's your least favourite part of season 1?
Least favourite, when we've said it, is the farting Slovene.
Oh, yeah,
It
definitely,
it just did not work for me. My most favourite, even though I loved that Jack came in, I loved the Are You My Mummy and the Doctor Dances, but I would say the last episode when Rose is trapped and she wants to get back and you want her to get back and you feel what she feels and that frustration, and she gets back and she saves him and she saves Jack, and that really was to me a beautiful, perfect ending to Christopher Eccleston's season. I really did like it.
Yeah, for me,
great.
it's the Doctor screaming out, "Everybody wins, Rose!
Lives.
Just this once, everybody wins!"
No, he says everybody
Lives.
lives.
Oh, everyone lives. Right, I've been editing the
Everybody
episode.
wins.
Everybody lives, Rose. Everybody lives.
He's so happy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm really glad that they didn't go with the Doctor being grooming Rose for the perfect companion.
Oh, that would have been weird.
Because that's creepy.
Mine's pretty much the same as yours. I didn't like the Slovene, but I think just the character of Captain Jack, and I mean, with hindsight, the Face of Beau being a thing
Yeah.
that they've sort of started to develop there. I did read somewhere about how the Face of Beau came to be, how Jack was sentenced to be like beheaded, and that's the reason why he became
Yeah,
the Face
I mean,
of
we'll
Beau.
explore that more when we do season 3. But yeah, basically,
Oh God, another 2 years time.
yeah.
And RTD says that he won't.
R2D2.
No, Russell T Davies
R.T. Edwards.
will not
Yeah.
will not
Beep boop, beep boop.
confirm that Jack is the Face of Beau.
Yeah, because they wanted to do a story, a book. Actually, Stephen Moffat was going to include him in A Good Man Goes to War. He wanted Captain Jack, but he couldn't do it because he was filming Children of Earth.
Oh.
And the rumor is that, like, he confirmed that yes, he definitely wanted Captain Jack to be in that. But the rumor was that he was probably going to get beheaded by.
Yeah, that's what I
Edward
was. That's what I was thinking. Of.
But that's the rumor. Like, no one he never confirmed that. But yeah, and multiple people have tried doing storybooks about the Face of Beau, and Russell T Davies said no, do not confirm it.
No, and I like that. You don't always want to know. You always want to have a little bit of mystery. And even with the last series, there's some unanswered questions that I'm quite fascinated to see if they answer them, if it ever comes back on television again.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Considering it's like October when
know.
we're recording this,
It's depressing.
and they still haven't announced anything, it's making me think that it's not going to come back until the normal time frame of late next year, which is really shit.
Yeah, well,
That's,
I mean, I'll still watch it, but I'll be very cross right up until it comes on.
Oh yeah, I'll be very cross, and then I'll be like screaming with joy.
I'll be going like, wee!
Permission to squeak.
Yeah, I do love Squeak. No, And it's been fun. I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, it has been fun going back to watch these episodes because I haven't. Obviously, there's a few episodes here that I love that I go back to quite often. But yeah, and there was even some episodes I hadn't seen before because I kind of skipped over them and ignored them.
And it's been fun to have the guests that we've had and to have them come up with the Hoobie Gang, which was Kira.
Yeah, that was not me. That was Kira.
No, much as you would like it to be you.
And
No, I didn't ever believe it was me.
and Gemma Bailey with Hoovers and Shakers. I did like that.
So, season 2 guests, you need to pick up your game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. We need some catchphrases to
Yeah.
carry through with.
Definitely not sticking with the whole butt eating catchphrase. That's
No.
not
Well,
you. That's
I
not-
had forgotten about it until you mentioned it just then.
I don't want to know about your chewy butt. I didn't think it was chewy.
Is that good or? Damn, girl, your butt is chewy.
chew on that. Oh no.
Does your chewing gum lose its flavour on the bedpost overnight? When your mother tells, don't you?
What is
you
going
swallow it
on?
inside.
What, like I sang a song about butts eating people, and I do not understand what is going on right now.
That is a real song.
Yeah, I know that song.
You don't know that song?
Is it a Toowoomba thing? Like,
No.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
it's an American
we only
song.
get chewing gum once, like every 6
Yeah.
months, so we've got to
Store it on the bedside
Store it
post.
on the bedside post.
Yeah, when your mother says, don't chew it, dear, swallow it in spite.
oh my god.
The 70s was full of
How do you know about it then?
corny
Beck?
songs.
I was in my own world in the 70s. There's a lot of acid.
A lot of acid.
Neow. And then you woke up in the 80s and you're like,
I might get born.
I'm a 12-year-old girl. Oh, hey man, I was born in the late early. When were you born? 90s?
96.
96.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, then she decided to get reborn.
Born again.
Born again.
Testify.
Born to be alive. Born to be alive. Oh, sorry, that was an 80s classic. Which is always a silly song, really. You weren't born to be dead, were you?
Every day you're dying. Anyway,
Every day you're closer to death.
we're just going to keep talking. So thank you very much for listening to D4WH with the season 1. Look, there's a lot to enjoy about this. It is the start of our journey, and it is interesting to talk about it with the hindsight of 11 years.
10,000 men.
Yeah. It's been
And they were all pretty.
10 extra seasons, but what, like 13, 14 years since then?
It is good to go back and look at it, and we're probably more critical of it than we would have been if we were reviewing it at the time. Also, just our listeners who've been writing to us, giving their comments, pulling us up when we probably need to be pulled up about giving Rose a bit too much shtick.
Well, I think we gave Mickey more guff than
Yeah, nobody's-
than
Yeah,
Rose.
but everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know. So, yeah, and just, having people engage and give their opinions. I've really enjoyed that. So I'd really like to do polls for our listeners for next time.
And yeah, the
Next
purpose
season.
of the podcast is to entertain, to make ourselves laugh. So we're going to pick on the things that are a little bit funny, like the fact that Rose has a boyfriend but goes gallivanting around the universe.
Yeah.
We make fun of the Doctor as well, and
Yeah.
and once we get into where he's married, I think we'll be doing that a lot more.
And no one will say anything bad about Matt Smith or they'll be shot.
Okay, so we're skipping Matt Smith's episodes.
Yeah.
I'll cry and throw a tanty. No. It's fine. It's fine.
Welcome to the podcast. We make our co-host cry every single episode.
Why don't you love him? That sort of thing.
That's a good impression of Adam.
Yeah.
Where?
Why don't you love me?
Why don't you love me?
Well, just to finish up, for our season 1, I would like to give us all permission to go squee. Are we ready?
Squee! And that's it for another episode. Before we go, we'd just like to ask Beck, what movie do you think would be improved by adding the Doctor? Or have we already done that as well?
No, we haven't. I'm going to have to pick one of my favourite movies. I've got 2 favourites. One's Moulin Rouge, but I don't want to pick that one.
Don't know if he can sing.
My other favourite movie, which would be hilarious to see him in, is A Night at the Roxbury.
I haven't actually watched that movie.
No, me either.
But it's based off the SNL skit.
Yeah, it's
for
Will
What's
Ferrell,
Love.
isn't it?
Will Ferrell and Chris...
Chris Rock?
No.
Chris Pratt? Chris...
No.
Chris
Stop.
Kattan?
Please stop guessing.
Chris Christopherson?
Yeah, basically it's just based off an SNL skit from What Is Love. So they used to get all the celebrities in and like did this little dance in the club,
Yeah.
and they made a whole movie off it, and it's fucking hilarious.
All right, I'll have to watch that.
Okay, that's
Just
interesting.
seeing the doctor sitting in the car, just like doing the head banging thing to What Is Love.
Wait, is it Wayne's World, the head banging scene?
No.
I'm just a little silhouette of a man. Galamoosh, I am the fucking doctor.
I don't think he had to put the fucking in there.
Well, I did, because there was
Yeah.
enough.
he
There was an
has
extra
to.
word.
He's-
Yeah.
It's in his contract. He has to.
TARDIS bolts and lightning, very, very frightening. So
Gallifreyan, let me go. Right, we better go now.
It's okay. Nicchia, would you like to plug your Facebook page?
Yes, I will plug Nicchia Shoot Comedy, and I haven't got any gigs set up yet.
But you can find all of them there.
Yeah, can find everything there, and that's all. What would you like to plug?
All In is the last Friday of every month at All In Brewing Company.
Yes.
Yes, please go and check it out. It's a great night. Free entry and doggos are welcome.
Yes.
Please bring the doggos.
Everyone brings a dog.
As always, you can follow Adam O'Sullivan Comedian on Facebook and visit thenerdinfinite.com. You can also find Rebecca's art on r.wolfart.
Yeah, you had it right.
Facebook.
R.Wolf Art on Facebook and Instagram.
And please like us and follow us and write a review and
Follow us home.
follow. No, don't follow me home.
No.
And yeah, get in touch. We love hearing from everyone.
Get the word out, please.
Wait, we've got to
Hang on. Just a reminder, D4WH is on Facebook, so please give our page a like. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, D4WH Pod. You can rate and review us on iTunes, recommend us on Facebook, and follow us on Podbean. We're also now available on Spotify and Stitcher. Tell your friends about us. If you see someone on the street wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt, politely go up and tell them they should listen to our podcast. Oh, that's my lift. Guys, gotta go. Bye.
Oh, bye, Nicchia. Bye. Get the word out. You might be in the TARDIS without your co-hosts on the podcast.
I'm still here, though.
Traveling through space and time, leaving the other co-host with the worst of the group, the water bottle, who never speaks on any of the episodes. Anyway, it's just you and me, water bottle. There's no other people at this desk right now. Thanks, Beck, for being here, but you're not part of the team. Why am I being so mean to you? I'm so sorry. You're the last person I have in this entire world. Anyway, Nicchia's off having sex with the doctor, I assume.
Someone's got to.
Someone's got to.
Someone's got to get laid on this podcast.
And no one asked for me to be on there, so that's fine. Nicchia's probably doing her own podcast on the TARDIS. Until next time, keep searching the skies for the doctor. Thank you.
Bye.
This has been a production of The Nerd Infinite. And then the sound of dragons spitting fire and stuff. What? Why are you looking at me like that?